I'm pleased to be joined today by civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis from Atlanta and Representative Maxine Waters from Los Angeles. She is the most senior of the 12 African-American women currently serving in the United States Congress. Certainly want to thank both of you for joining us here in Washington Watch. Congressman Lewis, 1963, March in Washington for Jobs and Freedom. You ended the speech by saying, quote, "Wake up, America, wake up, for we cannot stop and we will not be patient." Earlier, we talked to Ben Jealous, head of the NAACP. He said in 2009, African Americans cannot be patient. How do you craft a black agenda in the age of a black president?
I think it's possible, and we must have a black agenda during an age of a black president. There's so many black Americans that have been left out and left behind. They're still hurting, and we still must say, you tell us to wait, you tell us to be patient. We cannot be patient. We cannot wait. We want health care, and we want it now. And we must help this president, who happened to be black, who happened to be a strong leader, help him get this piece of legislation through the Congress.
Congresswoman Waters, is that the real issue, looking at him as simply, and maybe difficult, as another president by saying, look, these are the issues that we've always stood for, the Congressional Black Caucus, the conscience of the Congress, and so therefore we would not waver even with you sitting in the White House?
One thing we know for sure, we don't have to educate him about what our issues are. In the past, we've had to educate presidents about our agenda, who we are, our expectations, what history has taught us. We don't have to do that with him. He knows what the issues are. All we expect for him is to act on them, and act on them in new and creative ways. Help to get things done without making a big deal of it. Just do it.
And what are those issues? Congressman, you spoke of health care, one of those issues. Ben Jealous mentioned the whole issue, the disparity between crack cocaine and powder cocaine. Folks are talking about education. What is on the horizon that, frankly, African Americans should be focusing on for the next year leading up to the 2010 elections when it comes to the issues that are part of the black agenda?
Well, we have many issues. There are many problems, many unmet needs, but we need to give the African American community, we need to give this president a major victory. And health care is one of the victories that we can give to the black American community and to the President of the United States. People need a victory. And then we can move on to deal with the lack of fair treatment when it comes to the criminal justice system.
So for you, after health care, criminal justice is the next major issue?
It is so important. Too many young black men are locked in jail, in prison, and we need to find a way to keep this growth of our penal system.
Congresswoman Waters, what's the issue for you that people should be rallying behind, saying, pushing Congress to get this done that specifically targets African Americans?
Well, we are all working on the issues that we've been working on for many years. Many of us were in state legislatures where we worked on the issues of redlining and predatory lending and financial services issues, worked on education, access to education. We've worked on health care issues, and of course, this health care reform that is being debated now is important. Still, many of our people are getting their medical care in emergency rooms. That's very costly. But I am focused on something a little bit different. In addition to all those things, I'm looking at some economic issues. We have the Treasury Department, FDIC, and the feds. Basically, this is a white boys' place. And we don't have many African Americans that are working in these parts of our government, and they're not getting the benefit of, for example, the bailout. They're not getting an opportunity to manage failed assets that are not performing, that are on the bank books. We just don't have access to the tremendous resources and amounts of monies that flow through these agencies. And what's interesting about this particular area is this. On Wall Street, we have some of the most educated, competent, young black professionals who are doing everything from money management to real estate, you name it. And they're all participating. They are so happy about Barack Obama. They raise money. They really, really see this as an opportunity to have access where they haven't had it before. And I'm really pushing that and working very hard on it to open up these opportunities.
You spoke about many Black caucus members serving in state legislatures and also the local level. U.S. Census, 2010. The whole issue of counting, that also, do you believe that should be a part of this Black agenda, because that sets up setting congressional districts, future federal funding? Do people truly understand, do African Americans truly understand how the census affects so many aspects of their daily life?
I think more and more African Americans have an understanding of the census, and that's why we are saying to people, be counted. It is important that we all be counted. It controls everything that we do as citizens, as a people. Not just the congressional district or legislative district, as you stated, but city council, boards of education, but also resources.
But how do you deal with the Republicans who are saying, when it comes to the undercount, how they want to count? How are you looking at, with Congress, challenging folks who want to throw roadblocks up, frankly, in that whole counting process?
Well, we have to say we must have a fair count, and we must make the resources available, make the staff, the personnel available to see that every person is counted. Whether you're here legal or illegal, you must be counted because you're here in America.
Congresswoman Waters?
Well, as you know, we've done some things to make some changes already. We used to have that long, complicated form. That is no more. We have a shorter form. We have to continue to educate. We have to continue to talk about why it's important. We've got to make sure that we come up with creative ways of doing it. We've got to count the homeless. We've got to make sure that we do everything possible to get a count that's going to help us get the resources back to those communities based on the formulas that are developed because of the census count.
Well, one of the things that is very clear from talking to both of you, that we might sit here and say that it's great having an African American sitting in the White House, having a first family, but the reality is the issues that we care about are still there, and frankly, pushing him to action should be the same as whether it was President Bush, whether it was President Clinton, or the previous presidents.
Well, simply because we have an African American president, it doesn't mean that the issue of race is behind us. The scars and stains of racism are still deeply embedded in every corner of the American society. So we must not give up pushing and pulling and putting on the agenda, the American agenda, the concerns and needs of African Americans.
And that's what we plan to do every single week on Washington Watch. Congressman Lewis, Congresswoman Waters, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're certainly welcome.
Thank you.